Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and today we're going to be looking at a brand new vehicle by John Hot Rod called the Trail Rod. Now, a little bit of a few things to get out of the way. First of all, everything that you're going to be seeing in this video is fully replicatable on both PC and consoles. The mods I'm going to be using are the Trail Rod, obviously, and then later on when we get outside the garage, we have Lime's Aries, which we're going to be using as a tow rig, and then the map that we are on is TNB Trails, which is a really good, wide open world trail riding map that's also got some racing and some rock crawling as well for you to do. Now, what is the Trail Rod? Well, it's basically a highly modified, the top has been chopped, and it was based originally on an FSJ Chief. Now, a lot of people when this first came out, they were like, hey, that's like a weird two-door Wagoneer thing. It's actually, like I said before, it's based on a Chief from the FSJ era. So there's three different engine options. In typical John Hot Rod fashion, we have your 405 horsepower spec, 556 horsepower spec, and then the supercharged 807 horsepower spec. So we're going to go ahead and go with the max for this particular build, but when I build these things, usually I actually like to go with the 556 horsepower tune because that, to me, feels really well balanced to these particular chassis. So let's also have a look at the Trail Runner 6-speed transmission. Now, you can do towing and hauling with this thing, and there is the option to put a hitch in the back and everything like that, but that's not exactly what we're going for on this build, but you can actually use it for that if you so desire. Now, there's a couple of different suspensions. Well, I say a couple. There's a lot. Now, you start off with the Trail Scout, and then the main suspension that I want to recommend going with is either King of the Hammers or the Trail Runner Max Crawler spec. Now, on a map like this, I would recommend going with the Max Crawler because the Max Crawler is going to give you, like, genuinely huge amounts of flex. Now, tires-wise, you're going to start on a 43 or a 44, and you're going to go all the way up to, like, what, a 52? Now, let's see if they have anything bigger in the mud tire category. Not really, but these guys right here, let's see. This is the 52-inch Crawler Runner, and the description literally says, mud and grip rating 10 out of 10. The super grip mud tires are not ideal for high-speed driving on asphalt and or hard-packed dirt. So let's actually go with these and give these a try, just to see what they're like and see how they function. Now, let's also see, diff lock-wise, that's good to go. Super Trick Invisible Roll Cage Snorkel, that's good to go. Now, you have your tow and haul, but you also have, we're not going to be messing around with tow and haul in this build, but body options-wise, you have the modern bumper set that you can do if you so desire. You have vintage bumpers, which we're going to leave on here for this build. And then you also have the stock hood, which is removable if you want to get a look at the supercharged engine, which, by the way, looks incredible under there. So we're going to go ahead and put the hood back on for now. Then you have the stock removable tailgate, which I love the fact that he gives you the option to, like, take these things off and piece the vehicle together. There's also a removable windshield, so you can literally make it completely chopped if you want to. I mean, at that point, it's basically, what, like a Jeep FSJ bathtub. All right, so let's go ahead and put both of those back on. Then off-road protection-wise, I actually really like the pre-runner bumper. I think the pre-runner bumper looks great. I always go for the rock sliders, and I also really like the full cage. But if you want to do something a little bit different, you can go with this Trail Runner Speedster spec cage, which basically gives you kind of Speedster-style roll bars and a tonneau cover over the back of the rig. So I really like what he's done with that one, too. Now, let's go into the tire carrier area. We'll do the vintage tire net, and then we'll also do, let's see, is that the Crawler Runner? Yep. Now, wheels-wise, you have a ton of options here. You have the Armory beadlock, the Arsenal beadlock, Baker beadlock, which I love these, Chamber beadlock, Dual Sport, let's see what else, HVN, you have the Machete, the Mojave, the Race 101, Sentinel, Shredder, Trek, and Win Race. There are so many great wheels available for this rig. Like, I would totally advise getting this rig solely for the wheel selection. It is absolutely tremendous. Now, the cool thing about some of these color options is the fact that it goes back and forth between polished and really, you know, showroom quality paint, and also some really weathered, rusted paint. So I'm really liking what he's doing here. And not only that, but this paint list goes on and on and on, and if you don't want that little black stripe on the side, you don't need it. You can actually go to a fully solid color if you'd like, and then as you get a little bit further down the list, you have some colors that are basically just some more defined shades of what we saw previously. So for this one, I'm going to run one of the custom colors, and I think the one I want to run, I like this weathered red. I actually really dig that. So now we're ready to go ahead and head out to the trails. So let's fire it up and see how it flexes. It sounds really good too. That's one of the other really cool things about this rig is it sounds amazing. So let's take it over here to our makeshift flex ramp and see how this flex suspension really does work. Come on, ease it on up. Oh, that's awesome. That works amazingly well. And I love actually how when you flex it out, you can see all the detail in the steering and suspension. You can see the bump stops, the coilovers. Everything about the underside of this vehicle has been built and designed and modeled out so that it looks really, really good. Now, here's our tow rig for the day, Lime's Aries. We're going to go ahead and swap over to it. We're going to throw a gooseneck behind it. Nothing too crazy, just a standard one. And then we'll be ready to head out to the trails. So let's see. We want the lifted short gooseneck. That's the standard one. And then there should be a lifted one right here. There we go. And that actually matches the height of our Duramax really, really well. So let's get this guy backed up. Not bad. There we go. Well, that was super smooth. That was probably one of my smoothest trailer backing jobs that I've done in recent memory. So let me get back into the trail rod now. We'll get you loaded up. Oh, dude, this is going to look so awesome going up onto the back of the truck. Let me go ahead and turn the HUD off because I feel like this is going to look so good. We'll get you lined up. Dude, I love the fact that oh my God. This is like the beginning of an epic adventure. Like right here, literally that shot right there is such a start to an epic adventure. Oh my God. Even like with it on the trailer. And the cool thing about it is the fact that like once you have it up on the trailer, not only does it look really, really good, but it also, I think, kind of takes up almost the whole trailer. I've got it shifted a little bit further to the right than it needs to be, but let me move it back to the left. We'll back it up. Give it a little bit of steering angle, just a little bit. Come on. Come on. There we go. Not bad. That should be close enough. Close enough-ish, right? It doesn't need to be perfect, but I would like it to be at least, like, somewhat close to that. So now let's go ahead and shut it down. We'll go back into the HUD and bring the HUD back on. Now we need to go over to the Aries and get it packed. Now, I would keep the HUD off, but obviously, until Phase 5 comes out, we don't have the immersive mode, which that will obviously allow us to run HUD off all the time, except for when we're actually performing advanced functions. So let's go ahead and head out to the main road, and we'll find a little bit of a trail section. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I think that this right here looks like an epic weekend setup. And again, the best part about this in my mind is the fact that you can replicate this on console. Of course, this is being recorded on PC, but everything that you see here, the tow rig, the map, the trail rig on the back of the trailer, and the trailer pack can all be used and replicated on just about every console, so long as your console has the allowable RAM capacity to run this amount of vehicles and trailers at the same time. So let's find our way up here to the main road, and I think today we're going to make a left. Now, I have a trail in mind, considering the fact that we have a really, really high-performance set of tires, a really sticky set of tires at that, and also a really flexible suspension, too, to take on just about whatever we want. Oh, my God. That looks so good, though, like going up the road. Oh, that's so good. That's such a freaking good setup. Make your way up the hill. This thing really does a good job of putting the power down. I mean, I have the 6-speed tow and haul transmission, and I also have the middle engine option. It's not necessarily the super over-the-top, max spec engine option, but I think it's actually still doing really, really well. I know a lot of people, when they build this truck, they go right to the max spec engine, but I don't think that's always necessary. All right, so we've found our very technical, very challenging crawler trail. And I'm going to move up just a tiny little bit so we can actually get this guy unloaded. Oh my God, I love this setup. I cannot get over how good this setup looks. All right, ramps down, stop engine, and we're going to get you unpacked and swap over and back you down off the trailer. Oh, dude. It looks so good coming back down off the trailer, too. All right, first test of this crawler suspension. Let's see how she flexes out. We're gonna start in low, because we do have a ton of power. So low, like really low gearing and a lot of torque and a lot of power is definitely gonna make this for one fun trail run. Dude, he was not kidding at all about the grip of these tires. I mean, he wasn't kidding about the flex of the suspension either, but the grip of these tires is absolutely, like, bonkers tremendous. I don't know how we picked up that little bit of body damage, but not really too bothered about it. I also love the way these wheels look in the sunlight. They look so good. And that kind of, you know, that bronzy, goldish color really shines super well. This is definitely some of John's best suspension tuning work to date, because I know a lot of people, for the longest time, they were like, oh, his suspensions are, like, too kind of jerky or stiff. This is not that at all, especially when you're driving it in a slower-paced trail riding environment. Now, obviously, I would like to test some of the other suspension options out in a more racing-based environment, but this kind of setup right here does so incredibly well on these trails through the rocks. Let's get a little bit further on down. Not too bad. And if you guys have actually gone trail riding with this exact setup, let me know what your experience was like. Let me know how it compared to what your expectations were for the vehicle itself. Let's bump it up into low plus now. Actually, you know what? Let's get it back out of low plus, because I don't think low plus is appropriate for this particular section. Now, I will say, though, that little off-camber drop right there, this thing handled it super well. Most vehicles will get into this weird kind of three-wheel, like, tripod position almost right there, and a lot of them want to roll off the hill, but this thing, not at all. It did not want to do that whatsoever. And honestly, that first bit of trail, it made such short work of. I mean, that section of trail, normally it takes a lot longer to get most vehicles up that. This thing, it just walked right up. Now, if you guys enjoyed this build, tow, and little mini adventure, let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below, and also definitely check out all of the mods that were featured in this video and let the creators of the mods know how much you enjoyed them. And with that being said, hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you had any other thoughts and opinions, let me know any and all of those in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.